talk about the lie that we tell people about fitness. Yes, I'm going to be exposing a couple of long lasting, I don't want to say myths, but some of our flat blanket statements that we say people need in order to be fit. And uh, the fact that some of them do more harm than good, and why things like 10,000 steps, gym memberships, and no pain, no gain are failing the people who need the movement the most. So, got to start with a confession. I've spent about 30 years in the fitness industry. Yes, I started with cassette tapes with my classes. Yes, that is me. I have completed multiple Ironman races. I've also run dozens of marathons. I've stepped on bodybuilding stages for 4 or 5 years. I've been blessed and continue to be blessed with athletes of all abilities chasing podiums, personal bests, and bucket lists. This year, I even got recognized as one of Ontario's top trainers. I have spent almost 2 decades as a CanFit Pro trainer, a prescription to get active coach, and I've spent years helping people navigate things like cancer treatment, chronic illness, mobility challenges, and the realities of aging. And if that is not enough ands, I'm also a student paramedic. Holy guacamole. Which means that I spend my life helping people become stronger. And I spend another part witnessing what happens when health, mobility, and independence slip away, either through medical or through trauma. And here's what I've learned is that some of the things we've been teaching people about health for decades need to be challenged, folks. They need to be unlearned, because somewhere along the way, movement became complicated. I don't know why. We turned it into numbers, step counts, calories, heart rate zone, fitness trackers, gym memberships, rules. And then we handed those rules to people who were already like absolutely overwhelmed. People caregiving, dealing with arthritis, cancer, chronic pain, Parkinson's disease, heart conditions, the roller coaster mayhem ride that we can all call menopause, ladies, fatigue, grief. And to these wonderful, amazing people, we have said to them in social media, to their face, in a doctor's office, in a nurse practitioner's office, in a naturopath's office, all the places, all our allied health professionals. And we've said things like, just get 10,000 steps, drink 8 glasses of water, push through, no pain, no gain, as if we were all machines, and as if everybody responded the same way, and if everybody legitimately starts from the same place. And you know what? You know, and I know that they certainly don't. And that therein is the lie that we tell people. The lie that not that movement matters. Of course, we know movement matters. The lie is that movement only counts if it looks a certain way, right? And that's not fair. So I am going to talk about the sacred cow, not the sacred cow in the David Bowie song, China Girl. We're going to talk about the 10,000 step myth. Ask someone how active they are, and they'll often tell you exactly how many steps they got yesterday, which does feel good. Don't get me wrong. Ask them if they feel stronger, more capable, more energetic, more independent, and suddenly the conversation changes. Did you know that the 10,000 steps idea is actually a marketing campaign for a pedometer company from Japan in the 60s? It was meant to market to make people buy it more. Guess what? It kind of worked, didn't it? But here's the truth. Your body doesn't know whether you've taken 9,221 steps or 10,001 steps. Your body knows whether you've moved. And research continues to show that significant health benefits begin well below 10,000 steps, especially in adults that are older. And for somebody who might currently walk 2,000 steps a day, getting to 1,000 might completely change their health trajectory. And for somebody who might wheel 2,000 revolutions per day, That is movement, and that is ability. For somebody with arthritis or COPD, chronic pain, or a recent illness, chasing that 10,000 steps can actually create frustration, failure, and pain. Movement is not a math problem, my friends. It's part of a quality of life strategy. And while we're at it, can we please talk about the 8 frickin' glasses of water a day? I am still hearing this one. And because somewhere along the line, hydration became another thing people were failing at. And the reality is that hydration needs vary enormously from person to person. Body size, climate, medical conditions, activity, medications, age. Somebody hiking in July Muskoka heat has different needs than somebody spending the day reading on the porch. So the goal isn't to blindly chase a number. The goal is to understand what your body is asking for, and everyone is different. Health is not found in arbitrary rules. It's found in awareness. Okay? So I am going to let you know about some of the strongest people that I've ever met or worked with. And this might surprise you because the strongest people I've coached haven't been the Ironman athletes or the marathon runners or the bodybuilders. The strongest people have been the ones that live with chronic illness, which impacts 80% of our population above the age of 65, folks. It's people that show up for a walk while they're in the middle of cancer treatment. It's somebody who's learning to trust their body after a stroke. It's working with someone that deals with Parkinson's disease who refuses to stop dancing. Or it could be my client who's decided to use a walker so they can attend their granddaughter's soccer game. And these are pro-frickin-found acts of strength. And you know what? They really, really rarely show up on social media. And that also leads me to one of the sadder conversations that I hear is around mobility aids. And mobility devices are not failures, folks. People apologize for using them. People fight about using them. They whisper about needing them. They avoid them. They hide them. They hide them in the garage. They hide them in cupboards. They delay using them because we've somehow attached shame to support. And I don't know why. If walking poles increase your upper body use when you hike by up to 40%, doesn't that make sense that you would want to use them more? And things like we don't shame glasses, we don't shame hearing aids, and we should never shame seatbelts, people. And as a student paramedic, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, wear your freaking seatbelt. Please wear your seatbelt. Okay? Why? And again, getting back, why should we shame someone that's using a cane? Or why should we shame ourselves if we need a cane, a walker, or trekking poles? Mobility device isn't a sign that you've given up. It's actually the very thing that invites you and allows you to keep participating in the life that you're living. A walker does not represent decline. It represents access. It represents freedom, confidence, and possibility. And what I'm continuing to learn as a student paramedic is absolutely changing and continuing to change how I see movement in our community. And every week I'm learning more and more about disease, injury, emergencies at the cellular level, and the realities of aging. And what's standing out to me isn't how many people get sick, it's how much more function matters. Can someone stand? Can they walk? Can they recover from a stumble? Can they get up off the floor? Can you carry your groceries in both hands, not just one? Can you climb stairs? So the conversation isn't really about fitness in so much as it about maybe independence. And movement is one of those powerful tools we have to protect that independence. And not because it guarantees a longer life, it's because it improves the life we're living right now. So if you're hearing this and you're feeling overwhelmed, oh my gosh, do I ever get it? And hey, good news. You don't need a gym membership. I know you don't. You don't need a smartwatch. You don't need 10,000 steps. How about trying to walk for 5 minutes? Not 50, 5. How about standing up every hour if you're sitting? Because your body loves variety more than it loves perfection. And I want you to ask yourself one question. What movement would make my life easier? Not smaller, not lighter, not younger. Easier, more capable, more independent. And I want you to start there, because sometimes the most important part about aging healthy isn't learning something new, though we should always learn something new. It's about being willing to let go of what doesn't serve us anymore. The idea that exercise has to hurt, certain exercises we can't do, the idea that everybody should move the same way, the idea that fitness belongs only to athletes. I consider every person on my coaching roster is an athlete. If you've worked out 5 times since the beginning of 2026, you have done more than over half our population in terms of movement. I kid you not. Scary, right? I think that's a scary stat. So movement belongs to everybody. And after 30 years as a coach and now seeing health through the lens of paramedicine, it belongs to everybody, folks. The person climbing that mountain, the person walking around the block or wheeling around the block, the person recovering from surgery, the person using a walker, the person starting over, every single one counts. And the goal thereby, wouldn't you think, shouldn't be 10,000 steps quantifies if I'm successful. The goal is always to keep living the way you want.